Good evening. Tonight we will look at the second series of Think, See, Speak. This is series number 2, and tonight we will look at seeing and becoming. The law of seeing and becoming. You know that seeing is so important. Last week we talked about thinking. How you think can change your destiny. And tonight we will look at what you see, that's what you can achieve. And next week we will look at what we speak. And these 3 messages will form a tripod, a tree stand, a 3-legged stand that will put you on good stead, to really serve the Lord and really live a victorious Christian life. So tonight we will look at this topic in more details. First of all, we are going to look at a character that we all are very familiar with. His name is Abraham. Now, Abraham experienced the law of seeing and becoming. It was a reality in Abraham's life. Now, the law of seeing and becoming gave Abraham the promised land. Now, we know that Abraham was living in the Ur of Chaldee very happily until one day God called him. God called him out of the land from Chaldee and to come to Canaan. Now, it was a long journey, and Abraham had exactly no idea what Canaan was all about. But he trusted the Lord. That's why he had faith. And he obeyed. That's why he was blessed. And so, when he reached Canaan, God began to do certain things. Now, in Genesis chapter 13, verses 14 and 15, it says, the Lord said to Abraham after Lot had parted from him, He said, look around from where you are, to the north and south, to the east and west. All the land that you see, I will give it to you and your offsprings forever. Now, God told Abraham, after Lot left him, to go up. Now, brought him up to a hill, and then let him look north, south, east, and west, 4 directions, that he will have a mental image. How fertile was the land, how green, how how the tree flourish, how the flowers and the crops, the herds, they were all, it's a land flowing with milk and honey. It was a blessed land. So the Lord asked Abraham, take a look, because this I will give it to you. God said, I will. Now, that was Abraham at age 75. God promised Abraham the promised land. And before God gave to Abraham, God told him to really look, take a good look, north, south, east, west. Why? Why God did that? Well, God wants seeing and becoming becomes a reality in his life. God first of all wanted Abraham to see first, so that he have a mental image what he will possess in the future. He need this mental image. Now, Abraham had an idea and also a perspective after that. See, those days they do not have photography, they do not have videography, they do not have satellite. They have nothing. So when God called Abraham out of the Ur of Chaldee to Canaan, Abraham literally had to depend on faith and trusted the Lord. And he had no idea exactly what Canaan is all about. So now that he has an idea, he has a perspective. Oh, this is the land that God is going to give to me and my descendants. So it becomes a seed buried in Abraham's heart. This is a mental seed, a visual seed buried in his heart. And then in due time, it will germinate and bring forth fruit. Did it come to pass? Did it come to pass? Yes. When Joshua led the children of Israel into the promised land, then this seeing and becoming, the law of seeing and becoming, becomes a reality. But it took actually a couple hundred years. But Abraham first had to have that seed implanted in him. And then one generation after another generation, and all the way to Moses. And Moses knew when he led the children out of Egypt, he knew where he go. He's not going to anywhere else. He's not going to Europe. He's not going to, the other side. He went east, northeast rather, then southwest. If he goes southwest, he goes Saudi Arabia. But he went northeast. Where? Northeast is the Canaan. Canaan is the promised land. So it took some time, but the seeing is important, because without the seeing, there will be no becoming. Secondly, the law of seeing and becoming made Abraham the father of many nations. Genesis 15 verses 4 to 6 says, "This man will not be your heir," that is Eliezer, the servant, "but the son who is your own flesh and blood will be your heir." He took him outside and said, "Look up at the skies and count the stars. If indeed you can count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your offspring be." Abraham believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Now, before Isaac was born, God instructed one night to go out from his tent and take a look at the clear night sky. Now you see, in the Middle East, it's not like in our land. In this part, we are near the equator. Our temperature and we have a lot of clouds. At night we still have a lot of clouds, and so the cloud will actually cover up, shade the stars. But in the Middle East, because of the desert, there's not much cloud, and so the night sky is very, very clear. And when the stars appear, it is really so, what you call, they are so tightly knitted. They are so congested. The star is not like the star we see. And it's very, very clear. And so God told him, I asked him to look at the skies, look at the stars. And then God said, your descendant will be like what you see tonight, like the stars in the sky. So Abraham, for the first time, I don't even have a son now, but in the future, my descendants will be like the stars in the skies. And my descendants will be numerous. And obviously, Abraham could not count all the stars in the sky. God said, can you count all the stars in the sky? Abraham could not. Nobody can. Can you count all the grains of sand on the beach? You can't. I can't. Right? Same. Abraham could not. But anyway, the emphasis is not about the counting. Really. There's no virtue in counting. The important thing is numerous. That is the key. Numerous. Not able to count. God wanted Abraham to see in his spirit's eye that this is the number of descendants you will have in the future. Although at that time, Abraham did not even have one son. But God said, I will make you father of many nations. So Abraham first have to see before he receive. Now you see, this ability to see first before you receive is very important. See, God brought him to see the land first before he received it. Even not him, his descendants receive it. Now God brought him out to see the stars and tell him that these will be your descendants. Now the law of seeing and becoming must be engraved in Abraham's mind, and the same to be engraved in our mind too. And so the law of seeing and becoming was experienced by Abraham. Secondly, Jacob became wealthy using the law of seeing and becoming. Now his grandson, Jacob. We know the story of Jacob well, and in Genesis chapter 30, verses 37 to 43 it reads, Jacob, however, took fresh cut branches from polar, almond, and plane trees and made them white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs so that they would be directly in front of the flock when they came to drink. When the flock were in heat and came to drink, they mate in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckles or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban's animal. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the trough in front of the animals so they would mate near the branches. But if the animal were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way, the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Now, we all must know the background. The background is Jacob, already had a big dispute with his brother Esau. The brother wanted to kill him because he cheated the brother. So the brother of anger wanted to get even with him, and so the father and mother, Isaac, and the mom sent him to his uncle Laban. And Laban was not the average man. He was as cunning as Jacob, and in fact even more cunning. While Jacob was there, he cheated Jacob 10 times. He cheated him concerning the number of years he served in the ladies that he was going to marry. In fact, the daughters. He promised the younger daughter, but then gave him the elder daughter instead. And so Jacob had to serve double time, and then before he married the woman he loves. And then he changed his salary scale, 10 times altogether. And so Jacob cheated his brother 2 times, but he paid 10 times for what he did. His father-in-law returned him 5-fold. And so by this time Jacob was tired. He wanted to return back to his homeland. He wanted to go back to Isaac's house. Laban recognized that thus far God has blessed him because of the work of Jacob. Laban was not that wealthy before, but upon the arrival of Jacob, Jacob had helped Laban prosper. And so now Laban had become wealthy, in fact very wealthy. And so he did not want to let this golden goose that can lay golden eggs to go off. He wanted to hold on to this golden goose. So Laban agreed on a method to pay for Jacob's labor. Now he agreed on a new package, He signed a new contract with a new package. So what was the package? Well, before, when Jacob was tendering the flock for Laban, see, in the flock there were spotted stripes and dark color lamb and goats. So from that time onward, any lamb or goat that is speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is dark colored, will be Jacob's wages. Now let me tell you this. It's not common to have stripes, streaked, spotted, colored. They are rare. They will be less than 5% or less. There are many single colored and majority white or all white. So even this wage, this package is tilted in favor of Laban. Laban is not stupid. Laban, in fact, as I said, he is a very cunning man. And Jacob said, well, I do not want, other form of payment. I just wanted that in the future, the flock that I tender, that I care for, if they become spotted, streaked, stripes, colored, belongs to me, and the rest is yours. And Laban thought, not bad, because that will be in the very, very small percentage. Yeah, it's only a small percentage. It's not a bad deal. It's not 10%, it's not 20%. A normal partnership, if you really value your employee, you may give him 10% of your company shares, or 20%, or even 30%. But he thought, no, it's okay. You may only get 2% or 1%. It's a good deal. So he agreed. So what happened? So Laban is not stupid. First of all, he removed those lambs and goats from Jacob's care and put them 3 days' journey away under the care of his sons. So first he went among the flock that Jacob was tendering, and he took out all the stripes, the spotted, the streak, the dark color. And so Jacob was left with a homogeneous flock. They're all white, mainly white. And Laban thought, if you have all the white animal, I see how you're going to have spotted, streak, and stripes. You may get 0. That's what he thought. Well, Jacob outwit Laban by applying the law of seeing and becoming. So what he did, in 37 to 39, Jacob took fresh cut branches from the pollard, from the almond and the plane tree, and then he made white stripes by peeling off the bark to expose the inner wood. The bark dark color, and the inner wood is white. So it becomes white, dark color, white, dark color. Then he placed the peel branches in all the watering troughs. So when the animal came to drink water, they look at what? Look, white, black, white, black, white, black. Also all the time they see. So seeing, becoming. So that they would be directly in front of the flock when they came to drink. And you cannot don't drink. So every day when the animals came to drink, they will see white, dark, white, dark. So in the animal mental image is white, dark, white, dark. So when the flock were in the heat and came to drink, they made in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted. You see, Jacob applied the law of seeing and becoming upon the animals. And what the animals saw, they produced. So the lamb and the goats produced what they have seen when they came to drink at the trough. Now, Jacob, as a result of that, Jacob was very smart. Only when the strong animals were mating, then he placed the peel branches in front of the trough, so that when they mate, they produce strong young lamb, strong second generation. When the weak ones come, he will let them mate without the peel branches. So in the end, the weak animals becomes Laban's property. The strong animal who are spotted, streaked, and stripes all became Jacob's property. That was his wages. And over time he became very wealthy, and the Bible says he was so wealthy. He has male servant, female servant, a donkey, and he has camels. And he became exceedingly wealthy, but he applied the law. What law? The law of seeing and becoming. Thirdly, we see the third person, and he is Joseph. Joseph's promotion to become a high official in the land of Egypt was through the law of seeing and becoming also. Now we all know Joseph's story well. A few weeks ago, Pastor preached about, a blessed life, and Joseph was the man. And then you have heard about that story. If not, you can go and hear and watch that sermon called A Blessed Life under the Chinese New Year series. And Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more, because before that he was making ill report about his brothers, and the brothers were not angry with him because he went to complain about his brother. Which brother would be happy? So his brother all hated him, and now he had a dream and they hated him more. What dream did he make? Or did he dream? Well, he said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. Oh my! His sheaves stood upright. His brother's sheaves all bowed down to him. So what does that mean? See, Joseph had two dreams, and this is the first dream. And in this first dream, this is what he saw. And then he told it to his brother. And when he told it to his brother, that is his interpretation. When he told it to his brother, his interpretation, his brothers were angry because they understood its meaning. They know the meaning too well. Because they will bow to Joseph in the future. They were thinking, well, all of us who are your elder brother, we will bow to you. Now we must understand the Middle East culture. Just like our Oriental culture. Now in our Chinese culture, we respect elders. See, we are not like the Western culture where, we call all the senior uncles. Now in our Chinese culture, we have first uncle, second uncle, third uncle, young uncle, first auntie, second auntie, third auntie. We separate them very clearly. The man's side, the lady's side, the father's side and the mother's side. You are elder, you are junior. It's clearly delineated. We are very clear cut. No confusion. You could be a young uncle, and you got an old nephew. The old nephew will still have to address you properly. But you see, in the Middle East culture, they know the seniority, and so they say elder brothers bowing to younger brother. That's unthinkable, unthought of, unthinkable. So they were angry. Not only that, he had two dreams. Remember? Then he had a second dream, and he told it to his brothers. He said, "Listen," he said, "I had another dream." He said, one dream is not enough. He had another dream. He said, "This time the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." And when he told his father and as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What? You saw the stars and the moon? You saw the sun and the moon?" That is father and mother. 11 stars, his younger brother Benjamin and his 10 elder brothers. 11 bowing down to you? See, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? You see, that was what Jacob told Joseph. I may love you, but don't you think that your dream is a bit outrageous? But that was a dream that God planted in Joseph's heart. And so in this second dream, Joseph saw himself as somebody that even his parents, his brothers, they pay respect, obeisance to him. Who deserves this kind of respect? Well, a high official. Right? He cannot be in the home. He has to be outside the home. He has to be perhaps some political power. Not the family, hierarchy. In the family hierarchy, he is very down low. Only in another structure, and that structure has to be social, it has to be political. It has to be social, economical, political, actually. Now, we all know Joseph's bumpy encounters as well, right? Now, he did not born to be a prime minister of Egypt. Now, Joseph suffered a lot before becoming second in command in Egypt. We all know the story. He was first been thrown into a pit to be killed. And later the brother pitied him, sold him into Egypt, and he entered into Potiphar's house and became a slave. And then he rose from the slave to become a housekeeper. And then the wife, Potiphar's wife, tempted him and then maligned him, falsely charged him. He was thrown into prison. He suffered. He suffered as a slave, he suffered as a prisoner. And then finally he interpreted the dreams of the cupbearer, and then he made it to become the second in command in Egypt. Now, when we read this, it sounds like a fairy tale story. But really, in real terms, Joseph suffered. Joseph suffered a lot. So, by the time he became the prime minister, the second in command in Egypt, when Joseph looked back and he thought back, wow, years ago I had these two dreams. That My brothers will bow down to me. Oh, indeed, his brothers bow down to him. How? Because when the famine came, the father sent the 10 sons to Egypt to go and buy grains. And when they came to Egypt, they met Joseph. And Joseph was the official to deal with them. And when they saw Joseph, who was wearing all the Egyptian attire and with his perhaps head shaved, and they could not recognize Joseph. Anyway, they have separated for so many years. And they bowed down to Joseph. See, the first dream came to pass. Then later, Joseph managed to arrange for his parents to come. And when his parents came, you see, again, he was still the high official. And the second dream came to pass. So the two dreams came to become reality after a long time. But it was the first seeing that birthed the reality. Well, Joseph went through a lot. In order for seeing to become, the seeing to become becoming, it may take a long journey. And Joseph is a good example for us. And so fourthly, our response. After tonight you have heard about Abraham, you have heard about Jacob, you have heard about Joseph. You have seen their faith, how they, when God brought Abraham up to see, how Jacob caused the animals to see, and then how Joseph harbored that dream and then turned into reality. Then what is our response? Well, thus far, what has the Lord shown you? What has the Lord shown me? Has the Lord given you a dream? Or was there a dream that God has implanted in your heart? I don't know what dream it is. Big dreams, small dreams, important dreams, significant dreams. Was there a vision that keeps burning in your spirit? This vision keep burning in your spirit. Let you see a vision. And it can be something, a calling, to be a missionary, to do something for the Lord, to participate in His kingdom work, to become somebody in society so that you can contribute positively as a good Christian. A vision, set up a certain organization, whether it's welfare, to help humanity. That vision is still burning in your spirit. Now, to apply the law of seeing, that if you have a calling, a vision, you have a dream, the Lord has caused you to see certain thing, then I offer you 4 suggestions, or 5 suggestions actually. 5 suggestions. What is not possible now is not impossible forever. You look at Abraham. Was it possible for him to have descendants when he was 75 years old? Sarah was past childbearing age. They were both old, like dry bone. And then possible to have children? It was impossible, right? Almost impossible. But it is not impossible forever. Because at age 100, God caused Abraham and Sarah to have the first son at 100. So what is impossible now is not impossible forever. So whatever you see now is impossible. I want to let you know, and to encourage you, it is not impossible forever. You just hold on. Secondly, the seeing is the motivator for realization. Now, after the Lord has implanted the vision, the dream, the calling, the seeing, it becomes the motivator. It drives you. It drives you. It helps you to keep going. Keep going. Perhaps Jacob, you see, he let the lamb and the goat keep seeing. It's a motivator. Keep seeing day after day. So when they reproduce spotted streets and colored, right? Stripes, spotted. So keep seeing. It becomes a motivator. Thirdly, don't give up even though the going is tough. Look at Joseph. Going was tough. Imagine when he was down in the dungeon about to be not knowing where the next moment, will he be alive, will he be dead? Was it tough when he think about the dream? Can my dream terminate today? Or when he was in Potiphar's house as a slave at first, and then later in prison, and he think about the dream, would the dream end prematurely? But he held on to it. Even though the going was tough, he kept it burning in his heart. The dream kept burning in his heart. So I encourage you not to give up. Even though you may be facing tough times, hold on to it like Joseph. Fourthly, the thing that God shown you, nurture it like a seed. So you plant it like a seed in your heart. And then water it daily. Cultivate it, water it, supply it with air and sunshine. And then in due time, it will germinate. It will germinate like Jacob, like Joseph, like Abraham, like many other people. And then lastly, keep trusting the Lord always. Never give up. Because our God is a good God. See, knowing this law of seeing and becoming is one thing. To be able to hold on to it, to be able to maintain that positive outlook, the trust, the faith in God, not to be discouraged when the times, the going is tough, when it looks like impossible. You see, you need to trust God. And so let's learn from these three great patriarchs of the Old Testament. And then our heart will be encouraged. And I hope that your seeing will become reality. So that the seeing and becoming is a law in our life that we can apply. And then may God bless us. God bless us tonight. Thank you.